Hello and welcome to my channel. This is part 2 of my wood slat wall DIY series. So if you haven't watched part 1 that shows the cost breakdown and the plan, check it out here at the top left of your screen. I'll also link it down in the description box below. Okay, so I just received my hardwood sheets and these are added half an inch thick. I had actually purchased a second sheet for another project, but we'll only need one sheet for this slat wall DIY project. They are 4 feet by 8 feet sheets, so I'm going to cut them down to size. I'm going to cut each strip at 1¼ inch wide, and my plan is to install them with ½ inch gap in between each strip. This plywood sheet has a good side and a bad side, and you can typically tell which side is which just by looking at it. What you see right now is the bad side, and this is what the good side looks like, even though it has this weird mark. Not sure what that is, but we would just have to work with it. Compare that to the bad side, it's pretty obvious. The bad side has a lot of these dark marks and blotches all throughout. And if you look closely, there are a bunch of scratches on this side as well. So we're going to flip this around because the first thing we want to do before cutting this down is to prepare it for staining by giving the good side a light sanding. And doing this now will save us a lot of time, because sanding an entire sheet of plywood is a lot less work than sanding multiple individual strips. Plus, we'll also be able to sand more evenly this way. For sanding, I'm using an 80 grit sandpaper with my orbital sander. And a good trick to make sure you apply an even sand is to lightly run a pencil all throughout the sheet. Sanding is an important step because it evens out the surface and removes any imperfections made by factory blades. If you skip sanding and go straight to staining, the stain will highlight all the imperfections and it'll just look bad on your finished project. We do have that weird mark on the good side, and unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to fully remove it, but we'll definitely be able to improve it. Now I'm running my sander in circular motions and moving in the direction of the wood grain. I'm going really lightly because the layer of hardwood on this plywood sheet is actually very thin. And this is how they make plywood sheets so affordable. As I'm sanding, I'm also brushing away the sawdust as I go. That way, the sandpaper always has good contact with the wood. Because the top layer of my plywood sheet is so thin, I'm going to focus on just lightening my pencil marks rather than sanding them completely away. We'll do a second pass through with 120 grit sandpaper, so I should be able to sand away the pencil markings on that second pass. This is an example of what sanding is doing to the wood. Obviously, the surface of my plywood sheet is not as bumpy and irregular as the one in this image, but it clearly shows how sanding evens up the surface of the wood to prepare it for staining. Alright, we're done with our first pass, and so I'm gonna brush off all the sawdust. Now, switching to my 120 grit sandpaper, I'm going to do the same thing a second time. And after the second pass, all the pencil marks have been sanded off. Alright, now that sanding is complete, it's time to rip the sheet. And that's just woodworking lingo for cutting down a sheet of plywood. To help me rip this plywood, I have this tool by Craig that uses the edge of the plywood as a guide. And this helps me cut perfect strips of wood every time. I'm taking my 5½ inch circular saw and securing it to this jig, making sure that the blade guard can move freely without hitting anything. Then all I have to do is slide it onto the guide here. I want to cut my wood strips at 1¼ inch wide. So once I have my blade to where I want it to be on the guide, I'm going to lock it in place. Before I start cutting, I'm actually going to flip my plywood sheet around again. I want to ensure clean cuts on the good side of the sheet, and because of how a circular saw cuts wood, it's better to have the good side facing down. And to protect the good side from any damages or scratches, I'm going to place a moving blanket over my work table as well. Okay, now that we have our plywood sheet ready to go, it's time to start ripping. This Craig tool seriously made this process super easy, and each strip came out exactly the same. This is what my wood strip is looking like. I'm getting really nice clean cuts, and this will be important because when I stain, any imperfect cuts will be very noticeable. The edges are a little frayed here, but that's very normal and can easily be sanded smooth later. To help me keep track of which side is the good side and which side is the bad side, I'm marking the edge of my plywood here. That way I'll know which side is stained and which side goes against the wall. For the size of wall I'm installing these on, I'll need about 24 full height wood strips, which will go on either side of my mirrors, and 48 shorter wood strips, which will go above and below my mirrors. If you're interested in this Craig tool, I'll link it down in the description box below. This is my first time using it, and I have to say it works really well. It even has a handle here to help you hold the guide squarely against the plywood's edge. Before this, I was always messing with clamps and using a piece of wood as my guide, and it took forever having to unclamp either side, move the guide, and clamp it back up after each cut. So this tool really makes things so much simpler. But it'll still get sawdust all over you, so make sure you're wearing all your safety gear, your eye protection, and mask so you're not inhaling any sawdust. And of course, in the middle of my cut, my battery decides to die. And that's why it's important to have an extra fully charged battery on hand. So with the amount of wood strips I'll need, I'll have to rip the majority of this sheet of plywood down. But there came a point where the plywood sheet was no longer heavy enough to weigh itself down as I made my cut. And so I actually pushed it off, which gave me this slanted piece of wood strip. No big deal. So I'm actually going to stop here for now and sand the wood strips that I have so far. I'm using 220 grit sandpaper to get rid of the frayed edges. Alright, so this is what everything is looking like. It's really exciting to see all these wood slats come out so clean and perfect. And I really have to thank my Craig tool for that. I'll definitely need more wood slats than this, but it's late and I'll need a new setup in order to cut down the remaining plywood sheet. So I'll leave that for tomorrow. Okay, it's the next day and I'm actually going to first cut these wood slats down to length. After remeasuring my wall, they're about 6 inches too long, so I'll need to cut them down with my chop saw. A trick to make sure that each wood strip will be cut exactly the same as the other is to set up a stop block on your chop saw. I'm using a piece of scrap wood here and just clamping it down to my chop saw like this. I've already marked on my strip of wood where I need it to be cut, and so if I press it up against my stop block, the blade should cut where my mark is. And it does. After my first cut, I did notice that the bottom side of the wood had more imperfections. You can see how the edges seem to have been chipped, but the top side of the cut looks very clean. So, as I'm cutting my strips down to length, I'm making sure to place the bad side facing down and my good side, the stained side, facing up. I'm saving the leftover pieces as well, because these will be the perfect length to go below my mirrors. As I'm cutting, I'm continuously marking the edges of my wood, so I know which side is the back side that won't get stained. Doing this now will make it a lot easier for me when it comes time to stain. Now, when you're cutting wood, one thing to keep in mind is that the blade itself has thickness. Every time I cut, it removes material called kerf, and my blades remove about an 1/8 inch of material. So if I cut directly down the center of a 1-inch mark, the blade removes material on both sides of that line. That means after the cut, the piece will actually measure slightly under 1 inch, about 15/16 of an inch to be exact. And that's because the blade removes roughly 1/16 inch from either side of my 1-inch mark. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to check the actual number of wood slats I'll need to fill in the 21 inch of wall on either side of my mirrors. And I'm expecting I'll need 12 slats. I want my wood slats to have a 1/2 inch gap in between each one, so I'm actually going to use the thickness of the slats themselves as spacers. And after laying these down, it looks like my expected 12 wood slats will check out. I'll just need to cut another wood strip from my plywood sheet. But first, before that, I'm going to work on the slats that go below the mirror. Remember the 6-inch pieces I cut off earlier? I'm actually going to cut those in half, and they'll end up being the perfect size to fit below my mirrors. I'm adjusting my stop block to the correct spot. Make sure to clamp it down tight and that your wood block is super secure, as you do not want this to accidentally slip in the middle of cutting. I'm making sure the backside is facing down. and this is what my first cut looks like. I'm going to mark which side the bad side is and continue cutting until I have 48 of these 3-inch blocks. After I have all of my pieces cut, I'm laying these out like I did earlier and double checking that I'll have enough. Each mirror is 42 inches wide, so it looks like I'm missing one additional piece here as well. And this was expected since that's all the wood I could rip yesterday. I'll also need more wood strips for the slats going above the mirror too. So let's get back to ripping my plywood sheet. Now, since it's been cut down so much, it's no longer heavy enough on its own, so I'm going to have to get creative. I'm going to have to make the remaining cuts on the floor with a bucket of cement to weigh down my sheet and keep it steady as I cut. I'm using 2x4s to elevate my plywood, and this will keep it high enough off the ground so that my saw blade doesn't cut into the cement, because that would be very bad. And of course, I have to use my moving blanket to protect the good side of my plywood sheet. And yes, my dog loves to supervise everything I do, but before I start ripping my strips, I'm definitely putting him back inside the house. Because this Craig tool has a long guide that sticks out, I'm going to have to stop in the middle of my cut to move the bucket of cement out of the way and then continue my cut. It's a little tedious, but hey, it works. And I actually got about 8 more strips of wood before my sheet got too small to keep going. Again, I'm labeling the edges of my strips. Then I'm going in with a 220 grit sandpaper and giving the edge a light sanding. All right, we're back at my chop saw. I'll need to make 22-inch length cuts for the slats that go above my mirror. And I can't use the edge fence anymore, so what I'm going to do instead is cut my first piece to length. Then I'm going to use that same piece as my guide for all my other cuts. Before I make the cut, I'm pulling down the blade to make sure the end of my guide piece hits against the blade. That way, the wood I'm cutting will be the exact length as my guide piece. And this is how everything is looking. Perfect length cuts. And here's another angle of how I'm doing this. Once my guide piece is against my blade, I can remove it and then make my cut. I'm going to continue doing this until I have 48 pieces at 22 inches long. Once this is completed and the edges are labeled, I'll have all the wood slats I need to start staining. But I'll save that for another video. So make sure you tune back in for part 3 of this wood slat wall DIY series, where I take you through this project's entire process from start to finish. As always, thank you all for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that like button so you don't miss my next video. And I'll see you in the next one.